Well, so being that I invited you here today, I know who you are.
Yeah.
But just, for posterity's sake or for the record, go ahead and tell us who you are, where you're from, and what it is that you do.
Yeah. My name is Twixx Williams. I'm from Portland, Oregon, born and raised, and I am a film creative. Just a film creative, I do lots of things.
Primarily, the medium that you work in is film, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So when we say film, sometimes at Pro Photo Supply we mean film photography, but here we're talking about video primarily, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So what is it that got you interested in shooting video originally? You said you're Portland born and raised.
Portland born and raised. So yeah, honestly, when I first kind of figured out how movies and how film came about, I kind of just had family influence. My mom, she's a pastor, and so with her being a pastor, she has a TV show that she's had here in Portland over at Open Signal, which was PCM, but it's not Open Signal, for the past, I think, 16 years. So I just kind of grew up just as a very young child, just being on set, oh, this is a camera, this is a light, okay, and then this is you're switching back and forth. So I just kind of at an early age just always seen that. And so I just kind of you're around something so much, you just kind of okay, you're going to either learn it or hate it, or love it. So I learned it and I loved it, and so that's kind of really how I got introduced to film.
When do you think age-wise was where you were conscious of? You said you've always been around it you've been on set, right? 'Cause your mom was recording the TV show and that kind of thing. So when would you say you became conscious of not just this is somewhere where I have to be, but this is somewhere where I'm interested in being?
At the entry of high school.
Okay.
Along from doing videos, I'm a musician, so I play the drums. I've been playing the drums since I was 3.
Nice.
So I had a talk with my mentor, and there'd been many opportunities video-wise, but less opportunities as far as music. And so I kind of made that decision, you're progressing and doing a lot, and just videos everyone needs a video. There's just so many opportunities. So kind of just the entry level, I think right before my freshman year of high school, I kind of decided to just go all the way in on doing videos.
Okay.
And so just at that very moment, I was just I'm gonna do videos.
All right.
And so it made the most sense. I'd already had a camera, and it just was go big and just don't stop. Let's just go back for a second.
Yeah.
Started on the iPhone 5C, and the first video I did that was paid was a real estate video.
Okay.
For a local real estate company, and so honestly, they believed in me, and they was just yeah, let's do it. So I had an iPhone 5C, a GIMP, it was a DJI Osmo gimbal.
Okay.
Lavalier mics from Amazon, and I basically recorded this video for the company, and yeah, it was $300 I got from it. And so at that very moment, I was wow, I made $300. But it wasn't necessarily the money. It was just wow, I just did a actual project, for a company, and they chose to go with me with an iPhone versus whomever with a camera. So it's just it spoke volumes that you don't really need equipment. You just got to have the passion and drive and, willing to go for it. So
right about the time you popped up on my radar through a mutual friend of ours.
Yeah.
You had just gotten hired to do some stuff for MTV, right?
Yeah, that was right in, when was that? That was sophomore year of high school. Yeah.
So you were young and you were working for MTV, which is an internationally recognizable entity, right?
Yeah. It was there was this reality show that I was working with, and so honestly, long story short, they reached out to me and said, hey, we're doing an episode in Connecticut, and I was okay, that's pretty dope. And so I personally thought I was gonna be going with other filmmakers from Portland, but not me being so young in the industry, I didn't know usually there's other people that are from other places that meet there to shoot. So yeah, I was sophomore year of high school on spring break, and I was just telling my parents hey, got this really dope opportunity to work with some people, reality TV and all that. And so I was just like, yeah, it's in Connecticut. I'm actually flying by myself across the country. We don't have to pay for anything, but can I go? And I was just like, so we don't got to pay for anything, so who you going to be with? And just, so at that very moment when I was 16, asking my parents, can I go across the country by myself to people they've never met? But, they just was like, you know what? If this is what you want to do and if this is what your passion is, then go ahead. So at that very moment, I went to D.C. and then I went to Connecticut. That was just like the connecting flight. But I was like, man, I'm here by myself. And I made it. And so got an Uber after the airport and then got there. And so I just connected with the people that brought me out. And honestly, it was a life-changing moment for me because I was just like, man, I'm here, I'm shooting this. And it's like, this all started still, like I was still in high school. Like I'm on spring break, mind you. Like I'm like, I don't know what my other friends are doing, but I was just like, I was on this project and I was like, yeah, this is cool. But at that very moment, my parents really just like, I wouldn't say let me out the nest, but they let me explore, and I'm forever grateful for them for that. Because now I'm like, yeah, I'm going to New York. They're like, okay, just let us know when you're back. I'm going. So it's just like it's amazing, like their trust and faith in my passion.
Did you learn trial by fire, or like, or did you like seek out like, okay, what do I need to do so that I can keep doing this?
Honestly, I will forever be a student of YouTube University. So I learned as much as I could through YouTube. But when I graduated high school, I was even throughout high school I had mentors, but as I graduated high school, I had many mentors that really helped me. I remember I sent my first invoice to a client and I got paid on the spot. And this is coming straight out of high school. Like I was doing other videos in high school, but that was just kind of me going for it. But I then kind of learned the importance of like, okay, you have the creative, videos and they could be cool, but then there's the business,
right.
So I learned like importance of business and website and invoices, and like other important things to run a production company. So PVPDX, I learned a lot of stuff from them. They took me under their wing. I remember when I first got out of high school, it's kind of like a fun fact, but a lot of my work in high school was in slow motion.
Okay.
Because my computer wouldn't render nothing. So I was stuck doing everything on 45% on Final Cut. But, I met with Sebastian, founder of PVPDX, and that same day he gave me keys to his office and let me use his computer. And I was just like, yeah, use it. So I started editing in real time now.
Okay.
And so like my production definitely changed and stuff. And so, yeah, I learned so much from them and just other creatives and people in the community, and I'm very grateful for that.
Nice.
Me from starting doing a video with an iPhone,
right,
for $300 to filming a whole documentary by myself in Ghana,
right,
in 2023. It's sometimes I don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
I'm blessed for the opportunities. I'm blessed for the people that believe in me, and the support. And like now, today, I have a lot of equipment that I've accumulated. A lot of it's people just really believe in me, and I've donated equipment like DNA PDX. They were using a Black Magic, and then they donated that. PVPDX, A7S2, they donated that. And old mentors, which are mentors are never really one-time thing. They're always with you,
Right.
So I shouldn't say old, but self-enhancement, they donated one of my first cameras, Mr. Mac, Aaron Dixon, everyone, at a certain point, each portion of my life, I've always been able to be blessed to have people that believe in me, and I've worked for a lot of the opportunities that have been given to me for them to be able to do that for me. It's not like just, here's a camera, so it's just like, it's dope. I mean, hey, I wish, but nah, I genuinely, like, when I'm on set, this is kind of side note, and they're like, there's food, I gotta be burnt out energy-wise to eat food. I never like eating food, while there's still stuff to be shot.
Right.
You know, because it's just like I don't feel like I deserve it. But in the same, and I've taken that same element when I do videos. It's just like there's always stuff to be done. So just like don't settle. You know, don't get too comfortable. Because when you get too comfortable, that's when you realize, okay, who is this? Like everybody passing you, and then it's like you kind of lose track, and then try to run for them, but you got to realize you're in your own race. You know.
Right. What's your kind of go-to gear these days to shoot a project on? What do you shoot with primarily, and what do you create with?
So to all my Sony people, you know, I was with y'all, you know, from 2019 to 2023. Ooh. So I'm now Team Blackmagic. So the low light kings, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, them days I do miss because the Blackmagic. First of all, the Blackmagic, it has its own unique look, in my personal opinion, and I just love the look it gives. But when it hits, you know, that nighttime, you do get a certain look. And it ain't necessarily, you know, as good as the low light in Sony's, but I mainly use Blackmagic, and I use my second shooter cam, A7S2. Okay. And so, yeah,
does that ever create an issue having two different brands gear going, right?
Right. It's definitely like a real filmic look and then a real digital look. So, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, it's definitely different. However, if I'm doing any like just music videos, the different the better. You know, I don't want everything to look the same. So in certain senses, in certain scenarios, it definitely is helpful to have different cameras. But when matching in the interviews, there's definitely a slight difference. Like that must be like a Sony. That's you know, you can kind of tell. But yeah, I try not to think too much about it because it's like gear is so important, but gear is not important at the same time. Because like if you worry about the gear, like if you have an expensive camera and you shoot a really dope storyline and the video is like, then the gear doesn't even matter, you know what I'm saying? Right. Versus like you having maybe even a 5D, right, you know, and just trying to barely make it work, but the storyline is just, and you kill it, you know, it's just like, you know, so it's in a way gear matters, but it doesn't. Right. But it does, you know, it does.
It does and it doesn't.
Yeah.
What's your ideal project, right? Would you rather be solo, you know, running, telling the story, doing everything, filming it, not putting the camera down, maybe checking the audio, or would you rather have a big crew, everybody bringing their ideas together, and telling the story that you're being asked to tell from a joint perspective, or how do you like to work? What's your ideal idea?
Ideal, right, is the more help, the better. However, in certain scenarios, when you are more run and gun with a smaller crew, maybe you're the DP and the director and the gaffer and the grip, you get the job done because you're the one essentially doing it, but you kind of lack certain things that you may have missed just being in the moment. But when you work with a bigger crew, one thing that I've felt is that it runs and operates a lot slower. So the person directing has to really know the vision to communicate to everyone so that it all connects. Because when you work with a bigger set, like 10 plus, it's hard, like hard. You know what I'm saying? Some people may get burnt out easily, and it's one thing that I've definitely learned about. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm on these sets where I'm just by myself. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm just okay. Let's move this shot, move that shot. But like setting up a huge light for one scene and then striking it down and then going to the different location, like it's 3 hours. It's just the first shot, you know what I'm saying? So it's pros and cons definitely to like bigger budgets and bigger sets. Right. You know? And I wouldn't even say bigger budgets. It's just like the more people you have on set, it can just come with it taking longer or it taking quicker. You know what I'm saying? Just depending on how much knowledge people have and how much passion they have into it. Yeah.
So what's next? What's the ultimate? You said you're writing a movie. We're gonna see someday.
It's a little feature.
But what's you know, what's the next year look like? What's the next 2 years? What are things that you hope to do?
So I've been very blessed on my upbringings. I'm just a support in the community, and I found myself having my friends on set and other people on set. So I felt like, you know, it's really dope to create opportunities, just quick as possible and easy as possible for other people like me to learn what it's like on set. I didn't really get on set, an actual set, till like a few years ago, and if I had done that, sooner, I got a little taste of it when I first started, but actually on set and knowing like the proper etiquette of things, But what's next is I've created this basically a nonprofit with another creator, eBest, and it's called Behind the Scenes PDX. And so basically how I started and what it is basically it's an event where other filmmakers and aspiring filmmakers and photographers and people in the media come to one studio. It could be any studio here in Portland, because they're at different locations. Come to a room and just learn from each other and create with each other. And so I found myself being on set with people that are interested in film, but I found myself slowing down my production because I have to explain to other creatives that are wanting to be on set, okay, what is the C-stand, how to set it up? And we're like, we got to go with time. So I created another medium for people to just come together and create. And so it's been something that I've been working on with the best. Hernandez, she's amazing. She's the person that started this with me. And so we've done 2 events so far. I'm gonna do more events around here locally, but essentially just another community for creators to create, And so that would be a nonprofit, because it's like I don't want to necessarily charge someone to learn something, because if I approached videography with trying to pay for it to learn it, I feel like it would be a money-driven inspiration versus like, just naturally going into it. Because when you pay for something, you kind of expect results.
Sure.
But if it's something that's just like on your own time and you can fail as many times as you want, then it's more impactful.
Right.
One thing I'll say is when you're watching YouTube, and you're watching it, you can only watch so much. Like if I learn how to like change an engine in a car on YouTube and I get to a car, it's not the same.
Right.
So it's like actually physically doing it has been the most impactful for me. So if I can bring that opportunity to other people that are interested in filmmaking quick as possible, being on set, doing free music videos, it's just, why not,
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So you got BTS PDX, the nonprofit that's going to help give people experience, educate more people on how to make films, do filmmaking, all the various roles of filmmaking, I would imagine.
Absolutely, yep.
Gaffers, grips.
All of that, yeah. One of our first sessions, we learned more about gripping, gaffing, and just what's a C-stand, like what does a director do, you know what I'm saying? Just pre-production, post-productions, in the moment, like. So yeah, it's gonna be all that. It's still fairly fresh, fairly new. We've done 2 events so far. We're gonna probably do the 3rd one here soon.
Cool.
But life can get a little busy sometimes.
Oh yeah.
So
you gotta take trips to Ghana.
Take trips to Ghana.
Take those projects.
Yeah, just definitely. So yeah.
Cool. So BTS, writing a movie.
Yeah.
I'm sure more paid work in there.
Yeah.
Right.
100%. I mean, it's like. Film is always gonna be there, but there's other things in life I do want to experience. I wanna be in a band or something like that. I wanna either start a band or be in a band. Because it's like, I've been on stage, like filming, but I'm like, I want to experience it in a different way. So let me just, But at some point, I do want to be in a band or start a band, and play music, and because it's like. I know what I want to do now, and I'm doing what I want to do now. So it's like that question of like, what if I went this route? It's like, okay, I already know what this route's gonna do, and it's been doing good. So I just want to definitely experience a piece of life of playing music finally.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what's next. But for me personally, I just kind of like to live in the moment and let the universe do its thing. Cause even this interview, right?
Right.
I would have never guessed that this would have been in my for a future. Months ago,
Right.
just because I'm just creating. You know, I'm living, and I like to live in the moment. That's my biggest thing is if you live in the future, you forget about the importance of how important the moment is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I can say all these things, but at this current moment, the main thing I'm excited about is this interview, you know, and just everything I've shot in the past that I'm about to edit.
Yeah.
So,
cool. All right. Is there anything else that you think is a crucial part of you as an image maker that we haven't touched on?
I would say believing in yourself is one of the main things that has definitely impacted me, because you can have support from 10 million people, but you yourself has to still do it yourself. You know, so like just believing in yourself and doing it is like my main thing. So believing in yourself, that's as simple as it is, you know, because before there's support from anyone else, you have to do it, you know.
Right.
And what I say is, can't anyone else be better than you yourself, you know? So, yeah.
Nice.
I mean, that's pretty much what I got.